Okay,
Good
we
morning.
have arrived. Good morning. Sorry, my fault. I pressed the wrong intro and then didn't do the right things. Listen, we're here now. That's the main thing. The beautiful Ash, Queen Elly Bergvall, formerly Højbjerg, as everybody knows. And we're here to chat about Spurs, not international football. So, Ash, how are you doing? How has your mini break been away from me?
Ellie, I have missed you so much. You have no idea. We had a few, like able substitutes. Chang came on, Jose came on for a while, but nobody can
Yeah,
replace Ellie. Ellie is like the queen. Nobody can replace the queen. So I'm just
yeah,
so happy that you're back. I'm happy that you got a lovely vacation and now you're back
yeah.
with me. I
Oh my
missed
God.
Ladies Takeover.
Yeah, it was like a Sophia takeover with her wedding. It actually took over everything, all our thoughts, all our all our experiments, all our preparation, everything that we did. We were experimenting in the actual wedding as well with things. But the wedding went so well, everything just clicked. But at Spurs, we were clicking and then we were clocking out in the second half of that Brighton game, didn't we, Yash? It was like chalk and cheese. I don't know where to put my face when I have to face the Gooner fans, after that shambolic second half. But the first half was sublime. I just don't get it. What do you think, Ash?
Yeah, I just think that, it was honestly, I think it was a mentality thing. I think that the players went in at halftime thinking the game is won, and then they just didn't know what
Mm,
hit them in the second half. And honestly, I don't think
yeah,
Udogi should have started that game because he didn't look match fit. So they shouldn't have brought it back from injury so fast. And I feel like we
yeah,
do that a lot,
agree.
right? Because we don't have substitutes that are good enough and the drop off is greater. We always bring our players back from injury before they're supposed to be brought back. And this is like a Spurs thing that we do. And I think that this hurts us in the season with so many points.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with Bentancur as well. I think he was brought up back too early, and it's taken its toll now because you can see before he came back, he was lasting 60 minutes, and then he slowly got to around about 70, 80, but he was always lagging off, right? But now he's going 50, 55 minutes and he's lagging, and that's when we conceded. You know, we can't carry that because the team needs these extra two players. It makes a big difference. It's like playing with nine men. Then we've got Werner on the wings, so that's eight. Sorry, Werner, but I don't like to dig at our players, but sometimes he does cost us games. But listen, let's get to the chat because I want you to read the chat, Ash. I'll bring them up for you because you couldn't log in as normal. And the first one, beautiful Ash, is saying, oh, it just disappeared. There we go. Yeah, we were a little bit late. So Noel Kane's joined us. Have a read of that one. Keeps on
Niall saying,
disappearing.
hello, Ellie and Ash. I am waiting. We appreciate your patience, Niall, very, very much. Thank you for being with us
Yeah,
today.
from our hearts. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Subscribe and share.
yeah,
Show your love.
yeah. And then we've got the lovely Eugene.
Eugene is here saying, hi, everyone. Big up. Hashtag Levy out. Uh,
Leave me
Morning,
out.
Eugene. Hope you're having a good time in Malaysia.
Yeah, so Eltel's saying, having trouble connecting, please check your internet. Yeah, well, we did. Right, Ellie, you're lagging. Well, sorry about that. That's because my computer rebooted and it's taking time to catch up with this stream. I should have really opened it a lot earlier, but I woke up a bit late, I must admit. Yeah, hence the bags under the eyes. There we go. Noel Kane.
Niall saying, don't want to talk about this bore fest Nations League. I will go back to sleep. Otherwise, club football only. My God,
Yeah,
absolutely, Niall. I can watch anything, but like international football right now. It's not even Euros or qualifiers or World Cup or anything. It's just these inconsequential trophies that shouldn't exist in the first place.
true. But being Greek, come on, Greece. I've been I've been posting quite a lot of digs at the English. I will support England, but I've got a soft spot for Greece because my parents are both Greek, as you know. So I was on the win-win. If England won, I would have been happy. Greece won, I was happy. And because of George Baldock passing so suddenly, and the passion that they showed for their deceased player and putting his shirt up at the end, I really did like that, Ash. What did you think? I know you didn't watch the match, but you must have seen little highlights here and there about George Baldock's passing and the passion that the Greek players showed.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that the Greek love their football so much. Like Ange as well is like Greek, like of Greek heritage,
Yeah,
and it just like it's one of those nations where they love their football so much and they're very passionate about it. So I love the fact that they were so excited about it and they really thrashed England.
yeah.
So I think that
I know.
that's worth
Do you know what?
celebrating.
I would have loved them, the Sky Sports or BBC or any of the other channels to have interviewed at the match because I'm sure he was at the match and he would have said, "That's what the." Did you hear that? That's what the Greeks do, mate. That would have been really good. Anyway, let's get back
Yeah,
to the chat because the chat's much more important. There we go.
yeah.
Actually, I'll bring this. That's Ellie. You're lagging and keep freezing. Is your Wi-Fi dodgy? No, it's just because my computer rebooted. That's all. It'll catch up. Don't worry. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Shemtan is saying, good morning, lovely Queen Ellie, Bergwall, Betancourt, Werner, and beautiful lady Ash. Hope you're both well today and happy. So lovely to see the two of you. It's lovely to see you as well, Shemtan.
yeah, it's very lovely, and another one
Uh,
lovely to see. Woo, a
yeah,
fellow
Peter
Greek.
Kyrgios is here saying, hi all, 7:15 p.m. Melbourne. Well, we appreciate that you're
Yeah,
spending your Saturday evening or Sunday evening with us, whichever time
they're
it is.
they're they're 24 hours behind us, aren't they? So I think they're 24. Is it 24 hours? Is it Saturday evening or Sunday evening? I think
It's
I
probably
think
about
it's Saturday.
It's about, I think it should be
No,
like 12 or 14. It can't be 24, Ellie, because then there you'd be around
no,
the
it
globe.
can't be. Yeah, that's true. I'm having one of my
Niall
Greek
saying,
moments.
Niall
There we
saying,
go.
I'll watch Euros and World Cup and Copa America. Don't get me wrong. Nations League is just friendlies for me. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Like, I'm with
Yeah,
you. And then he's saying, rest in peace, Baldock. And he's also
yeah,
saying, come on, Greece.
yeah. Because his mother was Greek. Come on, Greece.
Oh,
That's
is
it.
it?
And then the next.
And then he's saying Greece is singing to England champions of Europe. They will never sing that.
No. Do you know what I found baffling? The hop on about it too much, but his press was saying it's embarrassing losing Greeks. Press, I've got a message for you, right? Who won the Euros in 2004? It wasn't England, it was Greece. Yeah, so you harp on back to 1966. We've still got our 2004 to harp on about. There you go. So we've caught up with the chat, Ash, so far. All right. What I wanted to discuss is the matches that we've had from when I was in Cyprus. We won all three. We played Qarabag, Ferencvaros, whatever they're called, and in Hungary, and we played Manchester United away. Let's start with that Manchester United match. What were your thoughts going into the match, and what were your thoughts at the end of the match, or even during
You
the
know,
match and at the end?
honestly, Ellie, going into the match, I was United were looking really bad. I saw them against 20 in the Europa, and they were looking really, really bad. So I did have some hope that we could go there and win, but I still thought that like every time United are bad, they need, like, it's like Dr. Tottenham will be with you. So it's like every time they're bad, Spurs will get them a victory, and then they'll go on a run. And so I thought
Yeah,
that will be like history will just repeat itself, and United are bad, and then Ten Hag will save his job by beating Spurs or some shit like that. But I'm very, very happy to, like, maybe I should have more confidence in the team, because that was not the case at
yeah,
all, like at all.
I know. We blew them away. I just couldn't believe it. And yeah, he's got about 1,000 lives, that Ten Hag, right? Because he even survived this 3-0 drubbing of Spurs. And I watched the Manchester United fans' meltdown. It was hilarious. Honestly, I watched it about 10 times actually in Cyprus. I couldn't believe it because so somebody said Tottenham Hotspur. And I thought, what? Tottenham Hotspur? Well, you're shitter than us because you lost 3-0. Right? And I just couldn't believe the way we played. It was a bit of both. Like, they played terrible, but we played sublime, I thought. Especially Kulusevski. I was thinking they're going to drug test him at the end of the match because he played out of this world, and I just couldn't believe the commitment from the players and that run by Van der Ven. It was superb. And the way he did it was incredible because he was running at full pelt right up to the end. And he managed to curl his foot round the ball to put a perfect pass across the 6-yard box for Brennan Johnson just to have a tap in. It was sublime. I just couldn't believe it. And I was watching it in the pub in Cyprus with my brother on a little mobile. And the pub, it sort of was electrifying in there because there was quite a few Spurs fans in the wedding party. So we really enjoyed it. We was enjoying the meal, but we was also enjoying the match, right? So I just thought we outclassed them in every single department, and our press was very impressive. What made you, what was the most defining factor in your book? What do you think made us tick in that game? What was the main thing you think made us tick? Either a player or the way
you
or
hit the
collectively.
nail on the head, Ellie. Like, I think it was the press, because there were a lot of times when United were trying to pass out from the back, and we were constantly intercepting them or taking the ball away from them in the final third. And I think that was down to our press. Like, a lot of United fans were complaining about the fact that they're not able to pass out from the back, and the midfield failed them, and that Bruno Fernandes failed them, and all such, like all of that. And but the truth is that the reason they failed was they were forced errors. Our press was
Yeah,
so good. Like, having Dominic Solanke there, it really helps the press, because he's like this physical presence that leads from the front, and the whole sort of like team as a unit follows. So that press, I think, was what really, like, got us that win, because every time they were passing off the back, we were stealing that ball, and we were winning all the second
yeah.
balls, and it was just amazing to watch how the amount of sort of like sheer possession that we had in Old Trafford in their final third.
Yeah, very true. And I would say it wasn't because of the bad passing they did. It's because we actually intercepted and we won the ball off them. So you're
Yeah.
100% right in that respect. What a great analogy there, Ash. And I feel it was a collective. Even when they got through our press, the midfield press, especially Bentancur, he was fabulous. And Kulu was just on one. It was like everything he did was sublime. Everything that he did paid off, because we've seen Kulu. Sometimes the things that he does don't always pay off, and he'll either lose the ball. Not very often. He doesn't very often lose the ball, but when he does, they usually go and score a goal because he's so good at holding the ball up for us in general. But I just thought the whole team had that fire in their belly, and they just had daggers in their eyes to get this result. You know, you could see even when they were lining up, I was looking at them and they looked focused. You know, there's sometimes where I look at them lining up and one of them's looking away, one of them's thinking about his dinner. You know, there's lots of things that I look for in body language, you know, and the way they start the match as well. You know, they started with the intensity as well. When Bruno Fernandes got sent off, I thought that was just a done deal then, because we were already on top, and that was just the icing on the cake, because he's their playmaker. He's the one who can pin out a pass to get the Garnacho in, to get Rashford in, and they had no thing until they brought on Casemiro late on, because he's not super fit, so they're not playing him. So I thought they got a little bit more back when they brought him on, and they made a few creative chances. But other than that, they fell flat and we were flying.
Yeah, we were certainly flying, and you know, Kulu, he set the record for having for creating the most number of key passes in the game. So he was just a monster. Like, he was a monster in that game. We have
We've got a few
member
people
chat.
more joining us. We've got good
Elly,
morning
if you could
Spurs
have
fans
Phil's
with Phil boys, and then we've
comment,
got,
the member chat. Um,
there we go.
Phil's saying, "Good morning, ladies. Hope you're well." Ange in. You know, Elly,
Yeah.
like, Phil has hit the nail on the
Yeah,
head
there
when
was a
we
lot of
talked
bad
about
dancers.
I was just, I was
Yeah.
not upset about the loss. I was upset about the loss, obviously, but more than the loss, I was annoyed by the fact that for the next 2 or 3 weeks of the international break, we would have to hear every content creator talk about Ange out, Ange out, Ange out. You know, so I was just like, you know, I almost wanted to take a break from YouTube for like the international break, because I was so scared that after that one loss, it's just going to be everybody's Ange out suddenly. So it
Yeah.
just, like, it gets so frustrating that, you know, these things are game to game where you play well and then it's Ange is in and Ange is the best, and then one game the team doesn't play well, and suddenly it's Ange out. Like, instead of sort of like looking at it holistically over a season and understanding that we're a team in progress and we're still being built, you know, this every game to game reaction, I think it's just too much, and it's just getting ridiculous now, I think.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll bring it back into context, right? Because I'm not an Ange out. What I am is Ange improve in terms
Yeah.
of his inspiration from the sidelines. Because I was left very frustrated. I'm not going to hold bars here, because I thought he made too many late substitutions. He didn't react, right? That I'm not criticising him for his general management since we've got him. I'm just saying about this match, all right? And there's other matches like the Fulham match as well, where we lost 3-0 as well. But this one we lost 3-2. There's certain things I look for in our manager, to inspire the team. I know people say, well, he gives them direction, he tells them what to do, and if they don't do it, then they're responsible. But it's also up to the manager to fire them up and get them going again, because they're human beings. We've all had situations in our own personal life where we haven't been quite with it, you know, and we've had other people telling us, come on, pick yourself up, you know, and go again, right? That's what you need. You need leadership on the field, you need leadership off the field. And I think we didn't have hardly any leadership on the field either. There was no one yelling orders. It was like looking around, sort of blaming each other, right? There was no continuity where somebody could get hold of all the players. Even Romero fell flat. And I think he personally fell flat because he felt responsible as well, you know. But you've got to get over that. You're grown men, right? This is a battle and a war. If you lose the battles, which we were getting second to the ball. Brighton were on it. And I know, I remember when they scored, my husband turned to me, he goes, they've got the momentum now. And I said, don't say that, because I knew it was true, right? But I didn't want to admit it to
The
myself.
minute they scored, I knew that they were winning. Like, you know, as a Spurs fan, you just know sometimes like that this is going to be a Spursy game.
Yeah, you can feel it and you can see it in the players' reactions. And also Ange. I'll get back to Ange because I thought he just stood there and he didn't do enough in my book. Because, look, I'm Greek. When I drop food on the flipping floor or I smash a plate unintentionally, I get angry. Yeah, like watching my team capitulate, literally capitulate before my eyes. And I thought, I was so disappointed because I thought that Manchester United game would be a bar where we're going to push on. But no, we did. I'm not going to say the word because I hate that word. You know what? It begins with S and ends with Y. I'm not saying it because I feel that we have to buck up our ideas, our mentality, like you said, right? I want you to touch on that as well because I know you're hot on mentality, Ash. So just explain to our lovely viewers what you mean by that.
Before that, Elly, there are a bunch of people in the chat. Maybe we could just like...
let's catch up with the chat.
Sports lovers saying it's a process and just the start of season 2. Yeah, it is a process. We have Daniel Sandoval with us. He's saying good morning. He's our chef from Bolivia, saying good morning, one love. Come on, Spurs.
Yes.
Come on, Spurs, Daniel. And then Phil's here saying reactionary FC. I say it all the time. Yeah, we are that. But then most fans are that, I think. Sports lovers saying they win 5 in a row, then lose 1. They are crazy.
Do you know what? Touch on the reactionary bit. It's because we care. That's why every fan, be it they react in a positive way or react in a negative way, or they're on the bench, we all care. You know.
Yeah, exactly. We care. Well said, Elly. And then Vindaloo saying, Elly, the word you're looking for is game management. Yeah, pretty much.
True. Very true.
And then another failed 3D upload is saying sup all, sup to you. And I love your
that's an American thing,
profile pic. And then Vindaloo is saying it's who we are, mate, not my words, but Ange words. Yeah. Sometimes I think his press conferences, like he needs to think about what he's saying and the message he's delivering. Because
that's
what happens is,
honestly, Ash, Greek men in general, they should think what they're saying before they open their mouth. Sorry, Greek men, but I grew up with 7 brothers, so I'm coming from a place of know-how.
International observers here saying, morning, ladies. Hope you're enjoying the break properly. I use it to Spurs detox. Once we start again, it will get mental. You know, that's what I did as well. I watched the ladies, but I watched none of the international games. And I was just like, I'm going into a Spurs detox. And this is the first time I'm talking about Spurs in a week. So it's great.
So can you describe to the viewers what you do on your detox days, Ash? I'm really intrigued what you do. What other things you do apart from watching international football to detox?
I mean, apart from work, I generally like either I'll probably like watch anime or read a manga or something, or read some books, do like some other stuff, go out. I live near a tiger sanctuary, so I'll go out into the forest. So it's lots of fun.
Yeah, that's really good. It's good to let the viewers know a bit about our personal lives as well. Hey, woo! Look who's here.
The sheriff is here saying, good morning, ladies. Can I get a shout out to my dad who's 80 today and is to blame for my sufferings supporting Spurs? Happy birthday to the sheriff's dad. And I blame you too. You know, I have a little baby nephew, and I bought him one of those, the Spurs onesies. And my brother looked at me and he said, why are you handing my child a lifetime of pain?
Yeah. We have to go with the flow, don't we, when our forefathers and our fathers passed it down.
And another failed 3D upload is saying, good old Dr. Tottenham. Yeah.
And that's Corey Boy. Yes. Come on, Corrie boy. You know who Corrie boy is, don't you?
Yeah, I've seen him on the WhatsApp, the messages.
He's lovely. Now, he had the
Yeah.
show. I don't think he does it anymore, do you, Corrie boy? You had this show with, I think it was with Ryan, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, he's changed his name and I'm blogging about my weight loss fight. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. I struggle with weight as well, so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. I lost a lot of weight for my daughter's wedding and I'm slowly putting it back on.
Yeah.
I'm going to try from today to do my intermittent fasting again because that does work for me anyway. So Phil say happy birthday to your dad, Mark, and then you read the rest.
Eugene is saying, I'm not Ange in or Ange out. I don't care. It's still the same hashtag Levy out. You know, this I agree with so much, Elly. I don't know what your stance is on this, but I genuinely, this is the reason I don't care about whether Ange stays or like why I'm not Ange in or Ange out, because the management will remain the same. So no matter who you put in that job, they're going to get the same results.
Yes, because Levy is the defining factor. And I don't want to harp on about him too much because this is the show that we don't really want to harp on about Levy. But he has been here for 24 years. And, you know, we've won one cup in 24 and we've lost 5 out of 6 trophies that we were going for and countless semi-finals. So our underbelly comes from him because I don't want to go on about him too much, but I must say this, just one more thing, that he comes across as passive, right? And like his interview where he said, I don't have to apologise for anything. Well, bloody hell, you do, because we've only won one. We haven't been competitive all the time. Yes, we've been competitive in terms of qualifying for Europe, and we did make the Champions League under his leadership. But look what we did. We shot ourselves in the foot by playing Harry Kane. You know, we started with 10 men and then that stupid handball happened. Now, you can't blame that on Levy, but the players that he had on the pitch, if he strengthened the squad, we would have had better players to bring on or somebody else apart from Kane to play instead of Kane. And we could have rested him to the bench and brought him on if things were going wrong. But, you know, these little things that he's done are big things because they've made us not win anything. And, you know, as a Spurs fan, I want to win. I don't want to be bantering to Arsenal fans and then them taking the mickey out of us. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on because we get too depressed then. We want to be a nice, jolly show.
Mark's talking to Phil, just saying cheers. And then Vindaloo's saying, ladies support Arsenal, jump ship. I will back you. It's not too late. You know, Vindaloo, to this I will say second loser. There's not much difference between second loser and fifth loser. So honestly speaking, I don't see the difference.
We don't want no Gannon. You see, our cockerel, it plays a part in society, right? Because it provides energy and it provides the ball. Your cannon kills. No, we don't want to be killers. We want to be lovers like the cockerel.
I'm no longer talking Ryan. He's a jump. Okay, wait. I'm not reading that, but we get your feelings about Ryan.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then Corey's saying 25 years, 1 cup, no real interest in the team as long as he is building Levy Land. Yeah, I agree with this 100%.
The Levy Land is expanding.
Yeah.
Hotels going up, things crashing down, and new builds going up. Levy's Tavistock is taking over. Yes.
Yeah. And then he's saying that was never handball, guys. It was kicked at him. Yeah, they changed the rules up. You know, it's so funny how they change the rules after it happens to us. Like, you know, with the Sissoko handball and then with the Eric Dyer one on his back against Newcastle, change the rules again. It's like the handball rules exist to mess up Spurs' season. Then they go away. you know.
And then they put it right for all the other teams and us eventually. But we needed that in the Champions League final. Do you know what? I would have gone into the VAR room and like I would have trashed it. Sorry, but that decision was awful. It really was. I mean, you could see what Mane was doing because Sissoko put his arm out and then he aimed it straight at his arm. But what happened? It hit his knee slightly and then bounced up to the top of his arm. Top, not there, right there. Then they changed the rule.
It was like in his armpit.
Doesn't count. You see, Spurs are pioneers in football. We change things, but we change things for the better most times. But this one, right, it could have gone in our favour if we got it changed before. But these things, they annoy you, and it's so depressing. Ugh.
Yeah. Chris is here saying, good morning, all. It's not often I get to wake up to two lovely ladies. Oh, that's a wonderful compliment, Chris.
And
Thank
he's a
you.
lovely man. He's such a lovely man. He's so nice and he's so well spoken. And he's from the area my other two daughters live in Cheltenham. So big up, Chris, and your chicken. He knows what I mean by that.
Yeah. And then Corey's saying, if it was clear and obvious handball, then yes, but he is pointing to the defense where they need to be. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you need a little bit of common sense as a referee, you know. When you look at these sort of situations, just use your brains a little bit. And then Windlu saying, now you've seen the way Ange sets his team up. If there was one thing you could change which will help you win a game, what would that be, ladies? Elly, why don't you say first?
I would buy Lionel Messi. No, just messing. Just messing. What I would do, I would drop the high line down by 5 or 6 yards. Just drop it. You don't have to drop it 10 yards. 5 or 6 yards back. It'll give us more defensive prowess. Just like Arsenal when they double banked on us and just stood in front of us and won the game at White Hart Lane just by defending their goal. And they're the best at it. Right, we can learn from them. I know he's tweaked things a little bit here and there, but I think that is the biggest tweak he can do. Just drop them back 5 or 6 yards, and it will give Romero more chance to think because he's a very good defender, but he's caught napping because he plays that 6 role as well. If you notice, Ash, he steps out of defence so often, and Van der Ven will be the one who stays. Yeah, so. I mean, Van der Ven hardly ever, when he does attack, it leads to a goal. So I want him to do more of it. That's another thing. I'm going to go for 2 things. Van der Ven with his brilliant runs and dropping the defence line a little bit back to 5 to 6 yards. Yeah. How about you, Ash?
There are 3 things that I really want him to do. One is, of course, as everyone mentioned, sub earlier, react to the game. Like, don't just like be passive. So that's one thing. The second is for some games against we should get a CDM, like a proper CDM, to provide cover to our. Like, we only have 2 defensive players technically because everyone is forward. So there'll be only like maybe Van der Ven and Romero on the halfway line. We need just a little bit of cover. If one of them fails, they shouldn't just be on through to the goal. So we just need just a little bit of cover there. So I think that and it doesn't have to be against every team. If we're playing a team that's going to be a total low block and it'll just be us with the ball, then I don't think we need that. But if we're playing a team like Brighton, for example, and we need just a little extra buffer, then it helps to have a CDM there to sort of like help out with the defense. Because one defensive by Udogie or by Van der Ven, and they were scoring, you know. So they just
Ash, if you had to pick one thing like Vindaloo's, what would out of those 3 things you mentioned, which is the most important to you for Ange to do?
I think I would go with a 6. I'd go with a defensive midfielder. Just not in every game. You need all types of tools in your toolbox, but in the games where it benefits us. And
would you want that number 6 to be a leader? Because a lot of people have been calling that we haven't got a leader in our team. because they say James Maddison's too passive. Romero,
this
not
angered me,
really-
like after, it's fine. Okay, fine. We lost the game. People lose games. And I don't want to get on players' backs for losing a game or being whatever, being not motivated enough to turn up in the second half. But Christian Romero was our captain that day. And, after a loss like that, where you have capitulated after a 2-goal lead, I expect the captain to come out in front of the press and say, I am sorry. And, we disappointed our fans and we have to do better. Honestly, I don't know if he's now made a comment or not, but I haven't seen him make a single comment since at least at the end of that game or the next day when I was still paying attention, where he said, I'm sorry, we should have done better. And, we pay him too much and he is our captain and we have given him so much love and affection. The amount of defending we have done in this first few seasons, when sometimes he was getting carded and he was having difficult games and all of that, the number of times we have defended Christian Romero because we love him so much. I think that he, as a captain, should have returned that affection and come out and claimed responsibility. So
I agree.
We need a
Do you know why I agree with you? Because if you hark back to when Lloris was our captain, and we lost 3-2 to Dynamo Zagreb, and he said he made lots of indications that there was ramblings at the club and there was no things going on behind the scenes that people need to know about. He sort of alluded to it, and he done it in a very, very clever way. Right now, I find the club shut up shop. They zip it. They don't give the fans anything to come back on so that we can say, yes, you do care, in a way that we can understand. Because as human beings, when you've done something wrong, right, be it losing a football match 3-2 or just dropping and breaking something and admitting it that you did it, right, just come out and say one thing, like to apologise to the fans for that. It was basically a shit show in the second half. It really was, right? And it wasn't. There was no intensity. There was nothing. So I think our commercial side of our club have really got to look at this, because we pay the money to keep them in the job. Because I see a lot of fans saying it's not our money. Well, it is our money, because we buy the shirts, we pay the ticket prices. Without us, they haven't got anything. The club would fold. Yes, so it is our money. So, we expect when we're investing in something, we're not just investing our money, we're investing our hearts, right? Our heart is in the club. Every Spurs fan I know loves the club, right? So we want to set the same love coming from our players, right, in commitment. And also, when you've played that badly, just put out an apology. They did it the season before. Remember when we lost to Newcastle and they refunded some of the money? Yeah, I think they should do that for the people that travel to Brighton. Because, all right, we played fantastic in the first half, but the second half was a disgrace. It really was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the chat.
Mark saying, I would make Ange stop playing high line and inverted fullbacks. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say completely stop playing playing a high line. I think you have to temper it depending on your opposition. I think that these things can change depending on opposition.
Because it's a high line, right? It's high line, high risk, high reward. That's what Ange is looking for. But a lot of the players, they switch off and the high line gets found out. If they're all cooking and they're all being disciplined and being focused, it does work. Because we've seen it work in that first half and against Manchester United, where we reaped benefits, didn't we? Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the chat, because our chat is very important to us.
And then Corey's saying refs have no brains anymore. The only ref I had respect for was the ex-copper Colina. His eyes alone said he wouldn't take crap from players. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is true. He had those
bring
eyes,
respect
didn't
back.
he?
And then
Yeah,
Corey's also saying need a leader like Tony Adams in the day, like a Roy Keane. Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. We
And
don't
then
have.
Captain
We've
Pants
got
is saying,
Romero who's like them, but he doesn't act like that on when he's on the pitch when he's given the management job. Oh,
yeah, I want, like, I have great, I think Romero can do it. He's just not doing it. I don't know what's stopping him, but I just hope that he changes. And Captain Pants
yeah,
is saying, Pants with three P's is saying, at Vindaloo spend as much as Arsenal. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
Mark
Well,
saying
it's not
every
about
team.
it's who you spend it on. You know, we bought 3 18-year-olds and a 19-year-old, so and they're not even getting a look in. So what does that tell you, Ash?
I mean, they are. It's not like they're not getting a look in. We played them in the Europa. Archie's played a fair
That's
few
it.
minutes.
I'm
Lucas
thinking about the
Bergwall has
Prem
played
where
a
it
fair few
counts.
minutes.
Well, yeah, they both competitions count, but I want to see more of them in the league because, especially after the Brighton result, because they did the first teamers who let us down deserve to be dropped to the bench. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah,
And then Mark saying every team needs that one player that the rest of the team is scared of. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree with this 100%. Like, they
yeah,
lead by
that's it.
example, and
Yeah.
when you don't perform, they'll hold you by the collar and be like, "What the hell were you doing out there?" You know. And Windlew's saying, "Did Elly just say we should learn from Arsenal, or is it too early?"
No,
Yeah,
no,
first,
we can learn off Arsenal in terms of the defensive side of things, but in terms of attacking, we've had the best attacking stats, and you can see we are cooking, right? And all right, we're not finishing as many as we do create, but we're creating, and it is cooking. But because we've scored, I think we've scored the second most goals in the league or the third most goals, but we've let in 5. So there you go. If we can get that defensive element right and learn off Arsenal, yes, we can. We defend because we've got just as good a defenders as you. That's my opinion. Because Romero is just as good as Gabriel. VDV is just as good as so Romero's just as good as Saliba. VDV is just as good as Gabriel. And Udogie and Porro, Ben White's nothing to write home about. What I've
yeah.
seen of him, he's an okay defender, but he's nothing special, right? So I think we can learn by defending our goal more. Yeah. Sorry, Vindaloo, but you are right in that respect. I did say that. Right, here we go. The next one up is David Clark.
David, before that, there was Vindaloo saying,
I missed one.
Spurs spent £409 in 12 months. Actually, I don't think that's true. I think the Spurs net spend over the last, I don't know, 5 years Spurs net spend was like fourth in the Premier League, like from let me actually, I don't have the figures in front of me.
I can't see it. Was it a bit further up?
It's just before that comment, Elly.
Oh, there it is. It's just after. Yeah, there, I found it.
So the thing is, the Spurs net spend is a little like deceptive. The total net spend for the last 5 years is £458, but that's over 5 years. And the truth is, a lot of that went into paying all the managers we got rid of. So we had to give money to Conte, we had to give money to Mourinho, we
I
had
know.
to hire Ange, and there was a
And
lot of support staff
Nuno as
in and
well.
out.
Nuno got a
So
big payoff as well, Ash. He got a big
yeah,
payoff. Yeah.
And then Levy also increased his own salary. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things happening at Spurs in terms of net spend, and not a lot of that has actually gone, if you look at it, to the quality of the team itself. So I would look at those figures very carefully. Whereas with Arsenal, they've spent that money on the team. So 458 over 5 years for Spurs, I don't think that's a bad net spend. It's fourth in the league, but most of it was to like managers coming in and out.
Do you know
David
what as
saying,
well? Just
yeah,
before you go there, right? Sorry, David, we're not going to delay you much longer. But just before, so spend, it's important, right? But you know what you spend it on as well, what players you're bringing in to enhance your first team, that's important as well. I don't think we've really done that enough, nearly enough, and to get a stronger bench, right? You can have the youngsters, but get a stronger bench on top of that. And we had the
yeah.
buy, we had the money, so we should have done it, but we didn't. So I feel disillusioned with the current way we're doing things, because I thought they would change under Ange, and it hasn't. So I'm really
Yeah,
upset.
and the thing is, we're so far behind the other teams in terms of a squad that we have to spend more. We should spend at least 50, 60 million more than them every transfer season to catch up. And we can
Yeah,
do it because we have the like the FFP, like the rules allow us to do it because we're
yeah,
earning so much money from the hotels and the F1 and the concerts and everything.
yeah,
So we have FFP on our side and we should totally do it. Like the financial fair play is working into our advantage and we can outspend the other teams right now. So we
yeah.
should do it because we have further to catch up to them than they have. Like if
Very
they're
true.
spending, you're spending, then you should spend 50 million more than them to catch up.
Yeah, and also Ash, right? So we're fourth or fifth biggest spenders, and we've on average we're finished fourth or fifth. All right, the anomaly was we finished eighth last season, but before that we were finishing above Arsenal as well, and we were keeping abreast of them by buying that key player. But we got to buy a key player, but we got to buy another key player and another key player, and then fill the bench up with very experienced players, because 18 to 19-year-olds, they're very good for the future, but they're not going to be the ones who are going to come on and really, really change a game like an experienced player can. They can
Yeah.
hold the game. They know they've got the know-how, and that experience, we need it. So we haven't filled that. We haven't filled our
And
cup.
Ellie, it's important what sort of experience you bring in also because like Werner, for example, is an experienced player, right? He's 28 years old.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would rather have Mikey Moore on that pitch than Werner. So when you bring in an experienced player, they have to be the ready article. They have to be
yeah,
someone who slots in immediately. Like if they're on the bench, they have to be an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They can't be
yeah.
on the bench and be I don't know, like
Werner.
uh, Kudu
We
or
don't even
like
want him
whoever
on the
we've
bench.
had in the past.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to David Clark because he's been waiting
Yes.
patiently, David.
Sorry, David. So David saying, sorry, a captain in modern day football isn't important. I was on a podcast with Graham Souness and an ex-Watford striker and ex-Palace chairman, and Souness said, you have to be your own captain. Souness also said that if every player had pride in their own performance and run more and play better than your opposition number, then a result like Brighton just wouldn't happen. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. Every player is responsible for sure. Personal responsibility counts for something, but there are lots of people who are disagreeing with him in the chat, so we'll let them defend captaincy. Sports lover is
Yeah.
saying captain is still massive. He's the one others should be looking up to, especially when things get tough. And he's also saying the players switched off, full stop. And then David's saying none of those three goals against Brighton came from playing a high line. They all came from individual errors, players just not doing their jobs. Yeah, I agree with this. Like individual responsibility matters. Corey's
Yeah.
saying what
But
happened
what I would
is
say to David Clark about that, right? So it's not from the high line, but it's the high press, right? So because we weren't high pressing as effectively as in the first half, they got through our press, right? So it doesn't matter. The high line is good. I agree. It didn't come from that, but it came from the collective high press. It wasn't there, and that's why they penetrated us. So you can't always look at just the high line. You've got to look at how we're pressing as a team. Yeah. And that's why we lost. I think we've lost Ash for a little while, so I'll carry on. Right. So
No, I'm here.
I
I'm just getting a tissue.
yeah. Right, I was just going to say about that Souness comment, right? I personally think you need a strong leader in every team, because every single team that's been successful in recent times and even back to the 80s has always had a strong leader, 70s and 60s as well. That's my era. The 60s not so much, 70s, 80s was my era. There was always a strong captain. And then you go into the 90s and look what Manchester United had, Roy Keane. Look what Arsenal had, Tony Adams. Look what Chelsea had, John Terry. 3 men that would pull up any player. And they wouldn't allow that Brighton second half to occur. As soon as they saw one little thing out of place, they'd be on it like a fly is to shit. You know, they would be on it. Right, and they wouldn't let the players lose focus. They'd be in their ears. So I think collectively, yes, you do have to have responsibility for your own performance, but you also need somebody, even in a normal workplace, right, Ash, where you go in and you're not quite feeling that well. You feel, I'll blag it today. If you've got a manager who's hot on your case, right, they're not going to let you blag it. They're going to get you to work as hard as you normally work, right? And make sure that everything is flying in that office and the sales are coming in. Same on a football pitch. I've played football. I've played with many, many good players, but I've played with some slackers. And it was the captain's job in our team, who was Brendan McKenzie, to get them on side. Yeah, so although Souness has got a very, very good point, I think, I'm not saying my point is better, but I'm just saying my point has got validity as well.
Yeah, just a quick thing to add to that. Look at the 2 teams in our Champions League final, right? We had, Lloris, who I don't think is a bad captain, but Liverpool had Van Dijk, and Van
Yes.
Dijk was a stalwart. He's just
Oh,
like a dam, and he will not let anything get past him, and he won't let anybody fail on the job. So
yeah.
the difference between the 2 teams was not the quality of the attack or anything, although Liverpool had an amazing attack as well. It was the fact that,
Yeah.
we had like Lloris and Harry Kane, who I don't think are good. Like, I don't think England does well under Harry Kane either. That's the reason they fail in every final, because Harry Kane is a wonderful player but a bad captain.
Yeah, very true. I
Uh,
wholeheartedly agree with that.
Sports lovers saying the player switched off, full stop. We've read those, Ellie. We're on Corey's comment. What happened to teams
We're
having
going
that?
there. We're
Just
on this one.
Yeah. Corey
Yeah.
saying, what happened to teams having that one nutter like Vinnie Jones, real men, real leaders on the pitch? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I would say Romero is a nutter, right? But I don't know. He goes inverted rather than extroverted on the pitch when it comes to the captaincy side, because we say Sonny's like that. So don't mimic Sonny. Mimic the way you're aggressive, Romero.
yeah.
Go on that pitch and give them the aggression. The other players who slacked off, give them what
Yeah.
for. Give it to them in their ear. Punch them on the
Yeah.
back, like when we score a goal and he whacks them on the back. Just give them a big whack. Wake them up. Wake up, you idiots.
Dindlu saying, do you admire Arsenal? No, certainly not.
No, I don't admire because you've won nothing in recent times
Yeah.
either.
I admire Man City. I don't admire Arsenal.
Right. The thing is, I wouldn't say I don't hate Arsenal like the way you play. I just don't like your club because you're Arsenal and we're Spurs, and you stole our thunder back in the day. But I'm not going to go there because it's too long-winded. Right? No, I don't admire Arsenal. Move on, jog on.
David saying Levy buys for the future, but by the time these young players are at their best, the top sides would have purchased more 60 million pound players who are already top players and will be further away from us. Yeah, exactly. And then you become a feeder club. All these people like like VDV, etc., will become fully developed, and then we'll sell them to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So it just uh, it's what happened to Southampton. Why did they end up being relegated? Because every good player that they produced was being taken by the club.
Every single player they lost. Yeah, that's very true. I feel sorry for Southampton because they would have had a splendid team. You think Van Dijk, even Højbjerg, they had Mane. Who else did they have? Wanyama. Loads of players. All these players. What a great team they would have had. There we go.
Biglu saying we stole thunder.
Yeah, you did.
And then Captain Pants is saying, admire Park the Bus FC.
I'd be interested to know how many goals have Arsenal scored this season. Have they scored more than Spurs or less than Spurs? I don't know. Yeah.
Get to work. Tell us what it's like. And then David saying this thing about rolling your sleeves up and get stuck like you are fighting the Vikings. That's frankly rubbish. There's no obvious stand-up captain at Man City because they have pride in themselves. I mean, I would say there isn't an obvious captain, but there are certainly leaders in the dressing room. I think, until recently, now that his form is dipping, it's different. But until recently, Kyle Walker was a leader in the dressing room. Rodri was a leader in the dressing room. All these people that they had, and of course, it all stems from Pep, who doesn't accept second best. But the thing is, when you're City, you can also do that because in City, even the bench is stronger than most Premier League teams. So it's very easy to be City and say that there was no obvious captain standout at City. It's different when you have to, when you have to push hell for leather and win these things by the skin of your teeth instead of outspending everyone and having the best manager in the world and the best, everything in the world. Then it's very different.
They have got leaders in their team and they've got fighters, right? Their fighters, in my book, is Bernardo Silva. He's on it, that player. Yeah. He's brilliant and Gundogan. Now they've got him back. What a great player to get back.
Gundogan is one of my favorite players in the Premier League. His mentality, his play, everything about him, the way he fights. I think he's an amazing player. What a player.
We've got Kuva's joined us. Kuva Bear.
Hey,
woo!
Kuva. Kuva saying, I don't see any natural leader in the entire squad, and I don't agree with Souness. Some players have huge talent, but little leadership qualities and need a captain to draw strength from. Yeah, I agree. Especially, look at what happened with Johnson, right? Johnson went, people were criticizing him, and he went into a dip in form. And the more he read on social media, the more he was being criticized. Somebody must have sat him down and given him some advice and been switch off your socials and, just step up. So I do think that some of these younger players especially need somebody to just, grab them and wake them up. Captain Pants is saying, not physically grab them, I mean, just mentally, prepare them. And then Captain Pants is saying, I'm thinking Decky should be made captain. That's not a bad shout, honestly.
Yeah, because he does have a few words to say, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah, I think Decky might make a good captain, because he leads by example. He's been our best player this season by far, right? And without him, we haven't got many people that bring the ball. There's only Van de Ven, and Udogie does it, but he's not doing it this season as much. He's not. Yeah. I've noticed he's not fully fit. Sorry, not fit. Mind you, he does flitting in and out of the match.
David saying Brighton knew their only way back into this game was to overload the flanks, and Ange just didn't do anything about it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Ange just didn't react in the second half. I think he thought that we would make it, but obviously we didn't. We've discussed this. Donna's saying Namaskar, Aishwarya. Namaskar to you, Donna.
Kalimera to Aglaya. Yes, that's a Greek word. Well done. And then we've got David Shear. Woo! Mwah.
Big up, David Shear. Saying good day, Queen Levy. Queen Levy and Ashley Cobbett.
Oh my God. I have to go and have a wash now that he's put my name with Levy.
And then Corey's saying, I still remember Vinny grabbing Gaza by the balls on the pitch.
Yeah, he did. I'm catching up with the chat because I've scrolled down by mistake, so I've missed quite a bit. So I'm going to scroll up so we don't miss anybody because everybody's important here. Levy by, yeah, here we go. There's one by David Clark as well.
David saying Levy buys for the future. But, no, we've read this.
Oh, we read that one. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down now. Just bear with me. Yeah, I think we're on this one now.
Yeah, Mark saying, I bet the hotel doesn't take as long to build as our team. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I've been building this team for the last 15 years.
This is a very good point, what David's making. This is the best point you've made, David. Brighton knew their only way back into this game was to overlay the flanks, and Ange didn't do anything about it. You know what I said? I said we were Matomed.
Yeah.
That's what I said. We were Matomed because Matoma was on one. He decided to have his best game against us, but he's quite consistent. He's a very, very talented boy. He's the sort of player we should have bought instead of Werner. We wasted all that money on Werner when we could have bought a Matoma. What a great
the
player.
funny thing is Ange rates Mitoma. He talked about him so highly when he joined Spurs.
I know. And it's just a shame he slipped through the net. He's going to cost us a lot of money, but look at all the goals that he's going to create for us.
Yeah. And Corey's saying, I say give it to Decky as well and get rid of this 4-player leadership stuff. Too many chefs spoil the broth. The captain is an extension of the manager. Every good team has a strong manager and captain. Yeah, I agree with that. True. This whole leadership group thing, it doesn't work for me.
No, it didn't work under the previous managers. So why would it work under this manager? Also, because the leadership group was there before with Harry Kane, Davies, Højbjerg, and I think it was Ollie Skip as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So no, I agree with you there, Corey. Right, because we need one strong leader, like Steve Perriman said. He was an extension of the manager, Keith Birkinshaw. And look how well that worked. We got 3 major cups in, and we were very unlucky not to win the league under that leadership because we were so unlucky when we finished 3rd, especially, right? And then Gata came after as well. We had a strong leader on the pitch with Graham Roberts as well. So, you know, you do need a strong leader. I really do believe in that full-heartedly, that you need somebody to pick up the team and give them a big bolster when they're dropping their standards, you know, because this team...
And not somebody temperamental. Like, I want a leader like Van Dijk, who leads, who's dignified and who leads with example, you know? I don't need you to throw a hissy fit like Bruno Fernandes. I need you to be a true leader, you know, somebody who's respected and appreciated, and at the same time who's tough.
Yeah, true. And like you see something going wrong, right? And you do it in a dignified way, but you do it in a way that they know that you're angry with them. Yeah. You can see it in the face and the body language. That's what Van Dijk's good. He's a very good communicator, right? And we had Lloris, who was a very good communicator early doors, but then afterwards he just settled in and didn't say very much. I think you know what? The most communicating player on our pitch is Vicario. Like, he is very good with his mouth, right? He's got to get a little bit better with his feet lately. Yes. You know, but his mouth is going 24/7, you know, so we've got a leader in him from behind, but what he's got to do is get stronger.
David's saying the same thing as you. He's saying, look, you want somebody to pull the players up and get on your collar, but you Spurs fans were the first to criticize Vicario when he had to go at Bergvall. You all had your hankies out. You can't have both. Yeah, no, I think it's perfectly fine for Vicario to pull up Bergvall and shout at him. I remember Lloris screaming at Sonny when Sonny wasn't tracking back once, and I was appreciative of that. My only thing is, I don't like goalkeeper captains because I feel like they don't affect the game. because they're so far back. They're not involved enough to scream at people sometimes. So I'm not a very big fan of goalkeepers. Windlu saying, when Ange was appointed manager, was that your first choice? Was it, Elly?
No, to tell a lie, my first choice. I wanted Vincent Kompany because I thought he's a progressive manager. He's got new ideas. He's going to freshen us up even more. And look where he is now. He's at Bayern Munich. So that just shows you the value of that man as a player as well. What a great player, a great leader, you know. And I just thought he would come in and transform us as a football club into a winning side. That would have been my first choice.
Yeah, mine was Thomas Frank. I thought he was doing a really good job with Brentford, and I wanted to see him with Spurs.
I like Thomas Frank as well. I like his demeanour, and I like the way he is, you know, when he gives interviews as well. He's such a gentleman, you know. And I just think Kompany would have been a little bit of a better fit for us, in my opinion, because I just think he's got fresh ideas. He's from a fresh era. He understands the football that they play now, you know. I'm not saying Ange doesn't.
Feel like he's a little naive with Bayern as well. I don't like what he's doing with Bayern right now.
Okay, well, it's a transition, isn't it? He's got to get them to buy in to his philosophy as well, just like Ange is trying with us fans and with the players especially, because they're not fully on board in terms of the focus and the commitment, are they? You know, they do lose their way. And when they lose their way, they lose it big time as well. They don't. It's like a fan meltdown because of the way we've crashed, you know. Yeah. So good point there, Vindaloo. Good question. Very, very good question.
Yeah, very good question. And then who was saying, I don't see any natural leader in the entire squad. I don't. Oh, we read this out. Captain Pan is saying, admire Park the Bus FC.
Yeah.
And then Vindaloo saying, we stole thunder. And then David saying, this is about rolling your sleeves up and get stuck like you're fighting the Vikings. That's frankly rubbish. There's no. We've read that. Sorry.
Yeah, we read that.
And then Vindaloo saying, hey, Park the Bus wins you games. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes
it does, but it doesn't win you fans from other clubs.
Yeah, like look at Jose Mourinho.
But if you put your hand on your heart, Vindaloo, you'd rather park the bus and play entertaining football. A bit of both. I would imagine you would want to do that, because I'm not saying Arsenal are not entertaining, but they're not the most prettiest team to watch. I think Man City are the standouts. And then after that, I like the way Aston Villa play. I really do. I think they're an exciting team. I even like the way Southampton play. I've watched them. And Brighton, you know, they haven't had all the results.
I would never admit it, but Chelsea are also playing really well.
They're playing very, very well, secretly coming up, you know, in the ranks.
And then Corey's saying, when you think of teams who create good players, it's teams like Southampton's, Leeds, West Ham back in the day. Now it's harder to think what's happened to them. Yeah, that's just money in football.
Yeah, if they want to stay in the leagues, though, because Leeds have already fallen by the wayside. Southampton have got a second reprieve. It's actually their third reprieve because they keep on going up and down. But Southampton, they're one. They've always had a good youth system, always, right? So I expect some of their players to shine through. There was one player that Savile mentioned, but I can't remember his name. Begins with B. He plays with Southampton. I'll look it up while we're going through the chat. There's a player that impressed Sava at Southampton. He said he was watching him and he really did impress him. A young player, because he's actually starting for Southampton. While you read out the chat, I'll look him up because I've forgotten his name. Yeah.
Philip Bidwell saying Arsenal have scored just one more than your Spurs have.
Yeah, there you see. So they're not that much better in terms of attacking. It's just the defense is better.
Yeah. David saying, I played for 26 years at a decent level, and when we came up against a physical side with 6 BS captains. We didn't roll up our sleeves. We beat them by playing better football. I don't think it's one or the other. I think that you have to have both. You have to have players who all take personal responsibility and play to the best of their ability. But you have to also build a culture and a mentality, and that comes from the manager and from the captain, leading from the front. So I think both things can be true simultaneously. You know,
Very
uh,
true.
and then and
Now
then
we've
Lee's
got
saying
Lee's
the queen.
Smith.
Lee's here saying the queen and the beautiful Ashby. Love you, Lee.
You've got
Thank
to
you
do
for
that when
being
you see
here.
Lee Smith. Richarlison should be back. Come on. I'm going to
Yeah, we have
hopefully.
to talk about that, Elly. We're getting a triple
Yeah.
boost, right? Sonny's coming back, Richarlison's coming back, Odebear's coming back. That means
Yeah.
no more Werner.
Yeah, I think no, I didn't. No, that's another player. I'll keep on going, and I'll find his name. Yeah, so
David
we're
saying,
looking forward to that,
give
having
me
all
a
those
captain
three
who can
players
choose
back.
which side the coin drops, and that's it. I'm just going to continue reading, even though it's not shown screen.
Yeah.
David saying Brighton hadn't won 4 games, so Mitoma wasn't running them teams ragged. And then Windaloo saying only if every time you lose, you could hold a concert after the game. It will cheer the fans up at least. Have a little boogie. Mind you, that's a lot of concerts. Oh well, Arsenal fans will dig at us. I expect that. Kuva's saying if captaincy doesn't matter, then explain Roy Keane's career. He said himself that he had nowhere near the talent of the players around him at United. His role was to lead. Yeah, I agree with you, Kuva. And then Rimanshu's here. Hi, Rimanshu. He's saying hello, Aishwarya Di and Elly. Di means sister in Hindi. Lee's here saying, nice to see you come out of the woodwork again, Eli. Donna Cullen. That's and then Lee saying hi to Kuva, and then David saying looks like Spencer is in goal again today. Good luck with that at Man United. Wonder what the backup keeper is thinking. How bad does a keeper have to play to get replaced? You know what, David? So David's talking about the women's team for anyone who doesn't know. Uh,
Yeah, because
in
we're
the
playing Man
previous
United
game
today.
against Liverpool, our goalkeeper literally passed the ball to Kapox, who's a Liverpool player, and then she scored. And I'm holding my head in shame. I'm just like, in January, if we are not buying a goalkeeper, I'm just going to lose my shit. Like, I'm going to lose my temper. I'm just so so annoyed with this. No more Spencer out. Go, leave, please, or be second. And then David saying Spurs
Yeah,
fans looking at the
she did it in the FA Cup final as well. But you know what? I'm not going to dig her at as much as you two guys, but I can see where you're coming from, right? But I mean, Barbara, she played a fantastic game against Arsenal when we beat them for the first time in our history, 1-0 at White Lane with that fabulous goal by Martha Thomas, right? And then she subsequently gets dropped. I didn't understand that by Robert Villaham. Maybe he's got a soft
honestly,
spot.
Eddie, they're both really bad passing out from the back. We just need a whole new goalkeeper. Like Spurs
Yeah,
should just get another goalkeeper. I think there's no other way to do this. Um and then David saying Spurs fans looking at the Pat again. This is not the part modern players are rich and soft. Yeah, I
yeah.
get your point. Um, uh, I get your point. Like, I don't think that it's not soft. I mean, I don't know. It's really questionable. Like, you could argue that it's soft, but also I think some of the behavior that was there in the past, like in terms of fitness and stuff, that was also, in my opinion, that was not a hard man thing to do. Smoking and drinking after the game and all these things that ruined your body in terms of your physical fitness and that
Yeah.
culture. I don't think that produced the peak of football. Like, if you look at it now, they're playing more games. They're actually, football's more competitive, even though it feels like it was more competitive in the good old days. I think that every generation offers a different view on football and different things to be excited about. So I don't know if I would say soft. Rich, definitely. I think money in football is a big problem.
Yeah, very true. I'm trying to find this Southampton player, but I've been unsuccessful, right? But I did just see that they signed the boy that I met at Turkey Street Station from Reading, Thierry.
Oh, wow.
Thierry Rohart. Yeah, his name's Thierry Rohart Brand. I actually met him at the Turkey Street Station in Enfield, and I was chatting to him, and I said, "Come to Spurs," but he's gone to Southampton. He missed the S. He went to Southampton instead of Spurs. All right, but I think they've spotted him, and he's a midfield player. He can play on the wing as well. He's a very, very good player. So, and then they signed Cameron Frederick as well from Reading, who was banging in goals all the time. Yeah, so I think I'll try and still find him while we're doing the chat. But I just wanted to play this.
Dealer, there's not been much wheeling and dealing,
No, I'm not a wheeler and dealer.
Just bear with me.
Dealer, there's not been much wheeling and dealing,
I'm not a wheeler and dealer. No, suck off.
Why isn't it playing? It should play. Is it playing? I can't see it.
What? Yeah, he was playing.
Dealer, there's not been much wheeling and dealing,
I'm not a wheeler and dealer. No, suck off.
I love this man. You know, sometimes I still listen to his stories. Like I'll go on YouTube and like Google like Harry Redknapp stories or something like that, and then I'll listen to them because he's just hilarious.
Oh no, he's so funny. And then we got Ange.
You said at the start of the season, the first campaign really about setting principles, getting your message across. The second campaign, you normally win. Are you seeing enough in this side that this season you do think that they will be a side that can win? I'm talking silverware.
Yeah, absolutely.
Competing right at the top.
Am I going to answer the question or are you going to keep asking? No, absolutely. And I think I'll correct myself. I don't usually win things. I always win things in my second year.
You said at the start of the season, the first...
You see what I mean? That now Ange, he is a strong-willed manager, right? And I like that he said that to the reporter, but he was a little bit rude to her. But I think he found that questioning was like condescending, right? Yeah, but when he answers, sometimes I always win. I like that because that shows that he's got character, that he's got strength in his conviction, that he's confident that he will win. I don't want to say we might win. Yeah, what?
We're in all four competitions. At this point, we're in all four competitions. Why not? Yeah. It's possible.
And there's people that come out and say, well, he hasn't won it in the big leagues. He's won it in the secondary leagues and the lesser leagues. But he's still been a winner, right? But he's got to prove himself now, right? He's made that conviction that he's confident that he will be a winner. So now he's got to deliver. Yeah? It can't be all talk and no action. Yeah. You know, because
that's the Europa Trophy. It's going to happen anyway.
We've been starved of success before Ange as well, all right? It was only up to Keith Birkinshaw and maybe George Graham who delivered one trophy, and then we had one more trophy after that with Juan Ramos, and he was a pretty high-profile manager in Spain, but he was little to be known in England, but he delivered a trophy for us. So even if he equals one, he only has to get 2 trophies to better the last 24 years.
Elly, the trophy has to be a priority as well. Like when Levy was asked what are his 3 accomplishments, he didn't even mention the League Cup, even though it was during his time at Spurs. And, you know, so the fact that he doesn't value that trophy enough to like mention it as one of his accomplishments, to me suggests, like, why did he say signing all these big players? Because he sold them for lots of money. So to him, he only remembers the accomplishments where he won lots of money. He doesn't remember the silverware. Wimbledon saying, I got to admit, I do like watching Spurs. Great going forward and guaranteed chaos. Yeah, that is true. They're great for the
on the nail, really, because we can be so exciting to watch and so fluid. And then on the other hand, we can be so destructive and so... we're not negative, we're never negative, but we switch off and lose our focus, and then the shape goes. You know, that's down to the players. The manager tells them what to do. That's down to the players as well. But like I said before, it's up to the manager on the sideline to put things right quicker and react.
Yeah. Paul G's here saying, big up, ladies.
All
Big
right.
up to you, Paul. Hope you're
Big
having
up.
a lovely Sunday morning. And
Yeah.
then Just a Harmless Potato, which is one of my favorite names on YouTube,
Yeah.
saying, good morning, all. Big up Queen Elly and Princess Ash.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, Potato.
Do you know
Oh,
what?
and we're done with the chat. Wow,
Yeah, we're done with
caught
the
up.
chat. So I think we can bring the show to an end, can't we? Because we're going for 1 hour, 22 minutes. We've loved the chat. You've kept us buzzing. You've kept us thinking about things as well, which is what the chat always does. And do you know what? I think we've got the best chatters when in Tel Cockerel and Talking Ball. You know, you keep. I don't know if you watched the other show the other day when I was on with Jose. The chat was buzzing, and it's again buzzing today. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. You make the show really. I mean, Ash and I, we're here to sort of lead and follow up on what you've said, but you know, without you guys, we're nothing really. Yeah, and also without our money, I must reiterate this: we are the Spurs, we are the fans, and like the great Bill Nicholson said, without the fans, we're nobody. Yeah, we don't exist. So bear that in mind every time somebody says they're not spending our money. They are spending our money. They just sort of have to spend it more wisely. Over to you, Ash, for your final thought.
Yeah, absolutely. We should be spending that money wisely. Every time you buy a ticket, every time you buy a kit, every time you tune in and pay Sky Sports or BBC, who then pay the clubs, you are paying into your club. So it is your money that they are spending on players, on the stadium and everything else. So I really hope that we have a better season. Before we leave, I want to kind of use the opportunity to plug my new channel. I have started a WSL channel. It's
I was
called
just about to ask you about that.
at all about the WSL. If you can, everyone, just if you follow women's football and you're interested, please do go subscribe, watch some of the content. I do think more fans need to watch the WSL. And today there is a game, so people bored with international football, why don't you tune in to watch United versus Spurs, ladies? It's going to be a crack game of football because United are really bad right now, so we have an opportunity to get one over them, even though they're technically a better team than us. So I feel like we can win this game, so it might be a fun game to watch. So
Very true.
my channel is at all about the WSL, so on YouTube. So if you all can go there, subscribe, that'd be great.
Yeah, and what I like to add to that as well, Ash, because even if you don't like women's football, support our Ash, because she's a lovely lady. She's so dedicated, and she's doing some fabulous work on that WSL show. Because I tuned in for the first time last week, and I watched it. No, not last week, before I went off to Cyprus. I was watching, and then I'll be tuning in as well. So everybody support, share the links with your friends. You know, even if they don't even like ladies football, just support our Ash. Yeah, because she's worth supporting. Come on. Yes.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat. So if anyone wants to go check it out, it's there.
Have you put it down on the bottom?
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, let's get it up. Right, let me go back to the comments. Right, here it is. There's the link, guys and girls. Come on, support our Ash. She's doing a marvelous job.
We've just started, so we only have 150 subscribers. But, upwards and onwards, eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, and you know what? It's last season when we played Man United as well. It was a thrilling game. We was winning right up to the last couple of minutes. And then that lady who scored in the cup final against us, who's off, she's gone to Mexico now, Garcia, like Jose Garcia. I think she's got another name, another part to her name, but she's no longer playing, so we haven't got that threat. So I just hope that we play as well as we did that game, but this time get the victory, because we deserved the victory that game as well. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I'll leave you with the outro, and I'll big up Spurs Diehards as well, my channel with Adrian. We've got a new member now, Mark, Chang, and Ian Meth. And tonight, Ian Meth's got a fantastic show with the brilliant Julie Welsh, who did those Glory days, depicting her life as Danny Blanchflower lover and a Spurs lover. And it was such a brilliant film. It's worth tuning into this lady, and EMF is going to be interviewing her tonight at 8 o'clock. So please do tune in for that one. It's going to be a hell of a show. And EMF is fantastic at interviewing people as well. He's such a good guy. And then I think next week we'll be back on Tuesday at Spurs Diehards TTID. And then I must big up myself and Mark. We're going to do a fun show on Monday. It's all about the bullshit and fun, right? That's what the title is. So, you know, it's not going to be a serious thing, but we're going to have a quiz, right? So tune in, because just for the quiz is going to be great. And then we're just going to have one hell of a laugh, myself and Mark. He's such a character, right? So I hope you all tune in, and thank you very much for joining us. Any other last words, Ash?
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Take care, everybody, and make sure that you tune in for all the shows that we've just mentioned. Take care. Bye-bye.